Welcome back. Today we're doing a deep dive into some pretty provocative source material. We're looking at this concept of the Christ within, sometimes called the sacred secretion. Our goal here is really just to unpack what the sources say about the biology, the metaphors, and, well, the spiritual side of this internal process, and also what might be trying to disrupt it.
And it's interesting, the sources really frame this knowledge as the ultimate way to build your inner citadel. It's about mental mastery. They suggest it's, well, essential for your own sovereignty, especially in a world that seems designed to grab your attention and keep you, afraid.
Okay, so let's break down the anatomy here, the internal salvation part. It starts with this sacred secretion, this vital essence. Where does it come from? The sources say the cerebrum, deep inside the brain. And they use some pretty vivid terms for it, like colostrum or even Santa Claus.
Right, Santa Claus.
Yeah.
It sounds strange, but the metaphor is about something valuable descending, like a gift, down the chimney, the spine, from the head downwards. But this raw essence needs refinement. And that happens through two key glands in the brain. They create this internal polarity.
Ah, and the sources give them specific names, almost like characters, to make it stick.
Exactly. So the pineal gland, that's Joseph in this analogy, it releases the electrical component. Think of it as the honey.
Okay, electrical honey from Joseph, the pineal.
And then you have the pituitary gland, Mary. She releases the magnetic part, the milk.
Yeah.
It's that fundamental duality, right? Positive, negative, electrical, magnet.
Creating a tension, like you said.
Precisely.
So together, this milk and honey form this powerful internal current. The sources call it the land flowing with milk and honey. And this flows down the spine.
That's the idea. This combined differentiated essence travels down the spinal column, and its destination is the solar plexus, the goal, to produce what the source calls a spiritual seed. Yeah, and they link this to ancient ideas, like the Eye of Horus in Egypt. It suggests this isn't new theology, but a kind of internal biological salvation process. The real temple is your body.
Okay, that sets up the internal side. But then the sources shift focus, right?
Yeah.
They talk about external things, profane actions that try to mess with this purity.
Yes, this is where they introduce the idea of an outer protagonist. Think of it as the external system, culture, media, whatever, that thrives on your attention and, frankly, your fear.
And it has tools to compromise this internal process.
According to the sources, yes. They call one specific strategy the digital honey trap. It's meant to corrupt that very internal milk and honey analogy.
How? By turning it outward.
Kind of. It's about exploiting psychological weak points, getting key people, perhaps, to dissipate that focused internal energy outwards, turning purity into, well, betrayal and control, using that same symbolic language against itself.
And the sources seem pretty serious about how damaging this is. They term it a symbolic assault on the very essence of purity. That's strong language.
It is. And they use some stark modern examples to illustrate it. The material mentions alleged cases involving, say, baby oil mixed with certain substances used against high-profile individuals, whether you take that literally or purely symbolically. The point is this. The source claims the external system will go to great lengths, symbolically or otherwise, to taint those inner living waters, to interrupt that sacred secretion.
So if the external world, the protagonist, feeds on our fear and distraction, its currency is our attention.
Then the only real defense has to be internal. It has to be about alignment within yourself.
Which brings us back to mental mastery.
Exactly. Mental mastery in this context means activating that Christos within, not through external acts, but by harmonizing those two glands, pineal and pituitary, Joseph and Mary, through stillness.
So meditation becomes key.
Meditation is presented as the core mechanism. It's the internal alchemy, the practice that brings those two forces into balance. Stillness.
And by achieving that stillness, the idea is you're effectively starving the outer protagonist. You're destroying its currency, your fear, your scattered attention, because it can't profit from inner peace.
Right. You cut off its supply. And at the same time, you're building something for yourself, your own internal power source. They call it the Eternal Development Economy, the EDE. It's the sustainable spiritual energy you generate when you shift your focus from reacting to external noise to deliberate internal creation. It fosters independence.
It really makes you think. If the protagonist's goal is to make reality seem so complicated, so overwhelming that you forget you're the one creating your experience, and if the real temple, the real site of salvation, is internal, then what external things, what systems or structures out there are you still looking to for rescue? When the source insists the real journey, the crossing, has to happen within.
It's a powerful question. And maybe the final thought is this.
Your sovereignty, that inner core, that's the one thing this outer protagonist ultimately can't buy, bribe, or break. Master that inner flow, that milk and honey, and you change your whole relationship to the world. You stop being a slave to the reflections it shows you, and you become the mirror itself.